All right. Hello, everybody. Hello. Thank you guys for coming. All right. Thank you for those that are joining us on Zoom. You're missing out because Frank has a taquero coming after this class, y'all. Okay. So don't miss out. Don't leave right away. The taquero will be right outside, and he's gonna stick around for some questions if you guys have any questions. Frank Fuentes will speak about himself, but you guys know he's the VP not only of New American Funding, but he's in charge of the multicultural division, which is super important for us. I'm Latina, so I appreciate what he does for the Hispanic community and the Association of Hispanic Realtors. So, yeah, come on up here, Frank Fuentes. Woo! Here you go, sir. We're gonna go wireless.
Oh wow, I get a mic too, or what?
Yeah.
Wow, you guys are fancy.
Hey, you guys are gonna miss it on practical though.
Okay. Make sure I'm all buttoned up here. Yeah.
Share a little bit about yourself.
Sure, absolutely. So first of all, thank you for having me. Thank you, Sophia, for always being so gracious and your invitation. I've been in the business 22 years with New American Funding. When I started at the company, there was 7 loan officers. Now we've got probably 1,000 loan officers and about 5,000 employees. So been there a long time, know the ins and outs of mortgage, ins and outs at New American Funding. I'm part of the DNA of the company. So I think one of the advantages you guys have of working with me is that I've got a direct conduit inside for, I don't want to say for anything you need, but we can get some stuff done maybe a little quicker. We can grease the wheel here and there, right? But yeah, I mean, I've done probably over 5,000 loans in my career, 90% of them in the Hispanic market. So I'm very, very in tune and keen to the needs of Hispanic borrowers, all the nuances, all the challenges, you name it, I've seen them all. Like Sophia, I always get invitations across the country for different boards, different organizations, specifically talking about the needs for Hispanic borrowers. So enough of me. I want to dig into the presentation because I'm excited. Oops, this thing. Oh, okay, there we go. Yeah. So before I get into the program that we're all here for, which is our cash buyer program, I just wanted to start off with a little overview as to what's going on. I think it's always important for you guys as realtors. I know you guys do a really good job. Sophia does a really good job of keeping you up to date, bringing different speakers, relevant topics, what's going on in the market, what's going on with rates, industry, all that good stuff, right? So main things, inventory shortages and rates going up. So rates are still moving up. And as we know, there's a shortage of inventory. But I think I've got the solution or a couple of solutions to the lack of inventory and how we can create that inventory ourselves. One of the good things that popped up as I was doing some research, that's really good. I don't know if you guys are aware, but that huge, what is it? A 5-story, 4 million square foot warehouse is coming to Southern California. I think that's coming to Ontario in San Bernardino County. So obviously it's going to be a huge economic impact in the area. It's going to create some jobs and some activity, regardless of the negative press that we see out there. So I thought that was important. This is another really cool tool that we have. And what this is a summary of a survey of 1,000 loans that was done by Ellie Mae. So Ellie Mae is the software provider to mortgage bankers like New American Funding. So they took 1,000 loans. And these 1,000 loans are in the Riverside, San Bernardino County, okay, specifically in this market here. And what this is, these are all the loans that were done between June 21st and June of 2022. So in the last 12 months. So what this tells us is that 94% of the transactions were to millennials. That's a big, huge number, 94%. So the age group is between 26 and 41. And then right here, it gives you the demographics. 60% were male, 27% were female, 62% were married. The average loan amount was $383. 52% of those deals were purchases. Here's an interesting one. 76% of those transactions were conventional. 18% were FHA. 3% were VA. Okay. Who can guess why the VA number is so low? Sophia?
I think, is this for last year?
This is for the last 12 months.
Yeah. I think just because of the type of market we were in.
Okay.
It was just hard to get the buyers in there.
Exactly.
So they switched their loans over to conventional.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what's the benefit and the downfall? Well, the benefit to the veteran, but the downfall to the veteran of a VA loan, the zero down, right? It's great, beautiful, it's zero down. But when it comes to making that offer, unfortunately, in a hot market like we had, where do those VA offers go?
It took
Right?
anybody that bought a house in the last year and a half VA, like that, you had a realtor.
Well, you have the numbers right here. 3%. Yeah, that's nothing. Okay. So anyway, that's an eye opener to what I'm going to show you in another slide right now. Average LTV, is that a shocker? 75%. So on average, they were doing 25% in the Inland Empire. 2 or 3 years ago, when I had the same slide, that LTV was like 90. On average, people were doing 5-10% down. But in the last year, 25% down. Okay. Average day to close, that was interesting too. Average day to close, 41 days. That's a little on the high side. Okay. I'm thinking maybe appraisal issues, appraisals not hitting, maybe some back and forth. I don't know. But that was interesting. Average FICO, 732. Really good borrowers out here. Okay. Average appraised value was 522. Okay. So that's just a little bit of insight as to what's going on in your backyard here, who the buyers are, what they're buying, and the specifics.
So you're focused on young males. Got
You zoomed in on that. Okay, so somebody asked me earlier where the rates are right now. Okay, so on average, I would say mid fives. If you ask me or if you ask any lender where the rates are today, mid fives. Now, if you notice, all of these scenarios are associated with a point. Okay, if it was not for that point that's being charged, obviously the rate would be higher. Then we would be talking about a rate maybe in the high fives, almost a 6. Okay, but right now the strategy with most lenders, and you'll see this on your estimates, now you're going to see points more and more frequently, where in the past when the rates were 3 or high 2s, you rarely saw points. Okay, now you're going to see that more and more and more and more. Points being charged up front. So if you guys are looking out for your buyers, for your borrowers, make sure you guys are looking at the estimates along with them and make sure they're not paying too much in points. Okay, 1 point is about average, but once you get into 2 or 3 points, that's a little excessive. So keep an eye on that going forward. Okay, we have a video here. Let me see. Let's see if we can play this here.
Where's Hugo? No puedo venir.
No puedo venir. Yeah, let's see here. Actually, we're going to come back to the video. Okay, so this is our cash buyer program. Okay, now this got a little bit, okay, here we go. So with this cash buyer program, basically New American Funding started a company called Buyer Accepted LLC. Okay, so under that LLC, we're acting as the buyer and buying these properties cash for our clients. Okay, now the clients are consumers who would qualify to be a cash buyer are only in 3 categories. Only conventional borrowers, VA borrowers, and jumbo. Okay, when I first started doing this presentation in the beginning of the year, FHA was an option. Recently, that went away. Okay, so right now, only conventional, VA, and jumbo. So if you get a pre-approved buyer who's putting 3% down on a conventional, we can turn that borrower into a cash buyer with as little as 3% down. The crazy one, and again, I hope you guys get excited because I'm really excited about this one, is VA, where we can take a 0 down VA buyer and turn them into a cash buyer. That's freaking huge. That's a game changer. That's a game changer for you guys, for more income, for more transactions, but more importantly, for who? For the veteran, right? Because these veterans have been ignored for the last 5 years, probably. If it's not one thing, it's another, and it's always the VAs being pushed out until now. So take advantage of that niche while it's still there. Yes. So basically, if you send me a buyer, I'm going to pre-qualify him. He's a veteran. I'm going to run him through underwriting, and I actually have some slides of the actual nuts and bolts of the process. But just to answer your question, so we basically fully approve him. Okay, make sure he's a solid buyer, even though he's zero down, that he's a veteran. Then we're going to give you a cash approval letter with a bank statement showing millions of dollars in there as proof of funds, and you go out and buy the property cash under our name. Okay. Once you buy the house cash, we're opening up escrow, putting the loan into our veteran's name. And I'm going to show you those steps. Okay. But right now, what I want you to wrap your head around is who qualifies as a cash buyer. So it's conventional, VA, and jumbo. Okay. FHA can't be done. Non-QM, bank statements, programs cannot be done. The other question I've been getting very frequently too from realtors that I want to bring that out there is there has to be a loan on the other side. And here's what I mean by that. So I've gotten questions, scenarios from people out of state. Like I've got one right now. They're selling their house in Colorado for $1 million. They're moving to Riverside and downsizing and buying for $800,000. Okay, so they need to sell their house and they want to buy free and clear. Okay, so in that scenario, we can't help them because there's no loan for us to do. Okay, so there has to be a loan. Now, with that scenario, let's say they're selling their house for $1 million, and they say, Frank, they're willing to do a $200,000 loan and put $600,000 down. Then we have a deal. Okay, there has to be a loan on the other transaction. Okay, when there's two transactions going on at the same time. If it's a first-time buyer, that's not an issue because obviously they don't have a house. Okay. So here it is. So this is a recent post that I did about turning VA buyers into cash buyers. Very, very important. Just start putting your thinking cap on with veteran organizations within your network or who you know that's a veteran. Maybe you guys have in your pipeline buyers that you tried helping and basically you or them just gave up, right? I know a handful of agents. I know, a ton.
I just told them, if you have no money, I cannot sell your house. You just couldn't. Left you.
Yeah. And I mean, that's the harsh reality. Now there is a fee. There's a 1.6% fee that we charge. So with the veterans, they have to have the 1.6% convenience fee in order to qualify for the program. Okay. And then obviously whatever closing costs are associated with the transaction. But there's a 1.6% convenience fee.
Well, they're printing the money for you. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
This will be the 1.6 out of the total price.
Out of the purchase price. Yes, good question. Out of the purchase price.
And then I didn't really quite get what you said before, that there has to be a loan on both sides. So if this person is buying cash.
Oh, so what I meant by that, let's say you have a buyer, but he's got a house he's going to sell, right? So he needs to sell his house in order to buy the replacement house.
Oh, he needs to have a loan with you.
Correct. Correct. Because I don't get a lot of scenarios, but I've gotten it like 4 times in the last month where they're going to be selling their house for $1 million and they're going to be buying one for 500,000. So and they're going to use all the proceeds toward the purchase, but then there's no loan for us on the other side. So in that situation, there's really no benefit for us. Yeah. Good question. Yeah, absolutely. Yes. There's no prepayment penalties. So I pulled up this stat for this county here. So as of 2022, there's what? 220,000 veterans in Riverside and San Bernardino counties. That's a lot to pull from.
Doesn't include San Diego. That's from the other side.
Exactly. And Orange County and LA County. I mean, once you combine the surrounding counties, I mean, you've got 500,000 easily.
If I'm gonna drive an hour to San Bernardino, I'm gonna drive an hour to San Diego. Right?
So again, think about the marketing, think about the campaigns, the conversations.
Is this program only for California? Or is it-
Nationwide. Now, that's a good question. The only thing that varies, we need to be careful about, is that the 1.6% fee varies from state to state. Okay, but that's just a text or an email to us, and we'll let you know in a heartbeat. Okay, good question. So there it is. That's the 1.6% convenience fee that we charge. I already talked about that. So this is what I was talking about, the process here. So the first thing we need to do is get you all certified. There's a 45-minute webinar that you guys need to take in order to participate in this program. Okay, so if this is something that you're interested in, I highly recommend. There's no reason why no one would want to be certified on this, because I guarantee you, once you're out there, you'll run into transactions where this is going to make a lot of sense. So what I want you to do, Tiffany, raise your hand. Before we leave, make sure Tiffany gets your card so that she emails you the training calendar. There's a couple of videos that we have and some collateral so you can really fully understand the program. Once you're on the webinar, this is where they're going to answer your questions about how the contract should be completed, if there's any special addendums. That's where you can really get technical. Okay, and ask all your questions. It's an open forum. It's real chill, and just raise your hand and just ask away. And we have those. How many trainings per day do we have? Is it 3? 3 a day, every day of the week. So they're constantly providing the training. Okay, 45 minutes. That's all it takes. That's step 1. Step 2, once we get the borrower, once you're certified, you start generating leads, you start sending them over, then it's our job to submit them to underwriting. Okay, so we're going to submit them for a full underwriting approval. We're going to verify assets, employment, VOEs, all that up front. Okay, so we're going to make sure they're solid before we give you, and we put our neck out there on buying the house cash. Once that process occurs, which is at least right now, it's about 5 days. 5 business days from start to finish. We're going to email you a cash approval letter, and like I said earlier, proof of funds. That's it. You're going to get an email with 2 attachments. Congratulations, our client is now cash approved. Here's your proof of funds. Go buy the house. Okay. Yes.
Is the interest rate going to be a little bit higher?
Nope. The only fee is the 1.6. The rates are going to be the same, whether they're VA, conventional, or jumbo. Okay, there's no add-on.
And the rate, is it locked in like when you guys buy the house, or it's locked in once they go back to buy the house?
Once we go, basically on the second escrow. Once we go in to put the loan into their name. Good question. Okay, but here's the good news, that once the house is purchased, it's going to be a really quick close, because we already did a lot of the upfront work in the beginning. When we did that full approval, there's already an underwriter assigned. There's a loan number that's been assigned. So once we get the property, it's a quick close, 2 to 3 weeks max. There it is, step 3. This is where we email you that buyer accepted, meaning the cash buyer program, and your proof of funds. The email goes out. And basically there's the agent to sign a commission agreement. So the commission, you guys get paid initially when this program rolled out, because it was a brand new program and we were trying to fix all the kinks as we went. They would pay the agent after the second transaction. Okay. Now they made the change. You guys are going to get paid immediately once the cash purchase has been satisfied. Okay, so once you guys go out representing us as your buyer, then within 5, what's a cash closing taking? Is this 5 to 7 days, 10 days tops? Yeah, that's when you get paid. Okay, very clear. A lot of agents really push for that, and we made it happen. That's the cool thing about this program. It's proprietary. I was having a conversation with someone earlier that there's a couple, 2 or 3 different variations out there from our competitors, but a lot of them are way different because it's not done in-house and they don't have 100% control all the time. With us, it's all in-house. The VP who runs this is my best friend. I can text her, hey, look at this file for me, what's going on, this appraisal, whatever, we're in full control. I don't know if you know Caroline from NAREP, ICERN. ¿Sí la conoces? Yeah, she's the VP running this program. Yes, Benji.
None of this apply to commercial.
No, it's all residential, all residential. Okay, so we talked about this briefly as well. So you go out there, submit, get your offer accepted. We open an escrow immediately. This is the step to put the loan under our borrower's name. They provide the 3%, close of escrow, agents get paid. Talked about that. Finalize the loan process. The new escrow is opened. Loan officer just orders the appraisal. Keep in mind the loan's already been fully approved. It goes back to the underwriter who was assigned. They sign off on the title, the escrow, the appraisal, maybe an updated pay stub, an updated bank statement, whatever they need updated in the file. That's it. Yes, Sophia.
Who opens the escrow?
The escrow is opened on our side. Yeah. And then what we do, and that's a good question that prompts me, and I'll get to your question right now. What we do is we hope and coach, and you'll see this in your training, in the 45-minute training, to at least try and use the same title company, work with the listing agent when you go buy the house cash to use the same title policy on both deals
As long as you get an alpha.
for a discount. Yes.
If you get an alpha policy, then review is the same prorated.
Exactly.
You
Exactly.
don't have to pay twice.
Correct.
It's the same as when I do flip.
You got it. You got it. Yes. That was your question. Yeah. Yeah. And again, all these more technical, granular questions is what they're going to cover in that 45-minute training. What I want you guys to wrap your head around are just the basic concepts and who we can fit into this program. So again, anyone who qualifies for conventional with as little as 3% down, the VAs, I think I made it clear and it's top of mind that VAs is a really good one. And even jumbos, 20% down jumbos. Anybody that's pre-approved for a jumbo.
Question.
Yes.
So up to, how much can you go in the jumbo?
$2 million maximum loan amount.
$2 million?
Yep, on the loan amount. So once you figure the 20% down, you're probably looking at a purchase price of like 2.75.
So they give you 20% and then you do the loan for $2 million?
For 80, yes, for 80% of the purchase price.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. So yeah, again, to think of it, you send me a buyer, I tell you he's pre-approved for 3 million, or let's say 2.75, 20% down. If he fits the profile, we can turn that guy or gal into a cash buyer and put you in a good position to what? To make a more aggressive offer on their behalf, obviously.
What if he wants to do an upleg? You know, he's selling a property and
Okay.
he's gonna go buy.
Good question. Good question. And that's a really good scenario that I almost missed. So in that scenario, what's beautiful about this program is that we're going to give that scenario, that client 90 to 120 days to sell his property. Okay. So you just listed his property. Now they're going to go out and find the replacement home. Because he's a cash buyer, you're going to find the replacement home pretty quickly. Okay. Ideally in less than 30 days. They can even move into the new home while their home is still being showed and staged and all that, but they will incur a daily rent per diem. Okay. But you can literally purchase the home cash without having them sell their current primary home. Okay. We don't need to wait for that home to sell.
What if this is an investment property?
It has to be primary.
It has to be primary.
Has to be primary. Has to be primary. And actually, I did have a slide about that. It is right here. So this is the slide for that scenario. Okay. So if the purchase price is $641 and above, it's a flat fee of $150 for the rent back per day. Okay. And if the purchase price is between $150 and $640, it's a little less. So in this example, they're saying $700 for every $100,000 of purchase price. Which again, this is all based on current market rents. They've done the research, so it's not like we're making any money on the rent, but it is an option. And the beauty of it is they don't have to qualify for both payments. Okay, which is huge. And obviously, what's the main benefit here? It takes a lot of pressure of them going ahead and listing, knowing they can go out and buy cash and have 120 days to sell their departing residents. That's a big deal.
That is a big deal. When do they take possession? Well, I always for the 45-minute video property because those that like I was just gonna say that I was just thinking things happen, life happens, something happens to the buyer, loses his job, passes away, something happened, and obviously there's protection there for the buyback program.
Correct. We're in that scenario. We're basically stuck with the house.
Right.
Yeah. And correct. Okay. So any other questions on the cash buyer program before we move forward? I've got some other info I want to share with you guys.
I kind of do.
Okay, yeah.
I'm in a situation that we're gonna, I have a client, we're already I already have a listing contract signed.
Okay.
But we haven't put it on the market. We're gonna go, we're gonna sell it wholesale.
Okay.
It's
Sure.
like Open Door, but it's not, Open Door is not up in their area. Anyhow, so they have to use that company's mortgage, because that's obviously how they make their money, right? They only qualify for a certain dollar amount with the new builder, right? So we're trying to get more money so they can qualify for the new build, because they want upgrades and stuff like that. So I wonder if I send them your way, is there different qualifications than what a new build does?
Possibly, yeah. And the reason is this, because depending on the lender, if it's their in-house lender or if it's their own lender, right? Like some builders have a mortgage company. So what I've seen is that some of these lenders have certain overlays, for example, on their debt to income ratio, which maybe they're only capped to go to 45%, where maybe we can go to 50%. So that could be the difference in qualifying for, I'm just going to say, for 600,000 versus 650 or 675. So yes, there may be a difference in qualifications. With us, there's no overlays because we're direct to Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, and FHA. We don't have any overlays. We don't have limitations. Whatever DU gives us, we go ahead and run with that. Other lenders don't. Other lenders, builders are more conservative.
Okay, they're lending their own money.
Absolutely.
That's the bottom line. You lend your own money versus a secondary institution. Like the builders, they're not lenders, they're builders.
Yeah.
They're going off of guidelines and red tape from other institutions.
Yeah.
You know, they're overlaid. Where when you're lending your own money, it's like they put their own rules.
I mean, they're not even getting that much of an incentive that I already talked to them, and like, you're better off putting some rocks.
Yeah, let's take a look at them.
Sell your house,
Yeah.
you know, market, you know.
What's the transaction like with the builder? Is it 20% down, or how much down are they looking to put after they sell their home?
They were asking to put, they're gonna put $200,000 down.
Okay, and the purchase price is how much?
On this new
Yeah.
build at 635 or something like that.
Okay, so they're looking for a loan of 400, 430?
Yeah.
Okay,
And they only own 90 on their house,
okay.
so they're, you know,
And they just want to finance more. They want to keep some of those proceeds or
no, they wanna put it all towards the new house, so that they can use now.
I see. Okay, yeah,
So I'm trying to, you know, find a way.
it's something we can look at for sure.
I'll send them.
Okay.
I have your Tiffany CC'd on an email.
Okay,
I'll-
perfect. Good question. Any other questions over here, team? Okay, all right, so we'll move on real quick here. Just one thing I wanted to keep top of mind for investors. Benji, you asked about investors or commercial. This isn't considered commercial, but it is for investment purposes. And this one is really good. Thank God guidelines have not changed with what's going on right now. Actually, no guidelines have changed. So this one is really good. Investment properties only, no tax returns, no pay stubs, kind of like the good old days, Sophia. Obviously, now one of the main differences now compared to the good old days is the LTV. So 35% down is required. Back in the good old days, it was like 125% LTV.
Yeah, but like I would want this program.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
So minimum FICO 700, purchase or refi. And then what's really cool is because this is an in-house program, okay? The rates are really, really, really good considering it's an investment property, okay? I priced one out yesterday and it was like 6.125. So if you look at the difference between the rates I showed you earlier for primary compared to investment, no doc, that's like half a point. That's nothing. That's nothing. Okay, so take advantage of that. And you can do interest only. And there's no prepayment penalty.
it's like a sell it later.
Yes.
Do they have a requirement of how long you want to like go home?
I would say at least, I mean, honestly, there's really no set guideline. Ideally, because of the relationship we have with you, and if you want to continue using the program, I would recommend make at least 6 payments, just so we can keep doing loans with you. Otherwise, they will flag you in the system and say, hey, these loans are paying off too quick. Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
Has bankruptcy on their profile.
On this program, I believe the requirement is a 2-year waiting period. Okay, which is not bad.
Question.
Yes.
So, so based on this one, what would be the requirements for the person to qualify then?
Assets. 12 months PITI of assets. So they have to have their down payment, their closing cost money, and 12 months reserves of whatever the payment's going to be.
Yeah, it's 3,000. They want you to have reserves. 3 times 12, 36.
Correct. You got it.
Okay.
Okay. So it's all based on down payment and assets. Obviously, because there's no income required.
And up to how much would you go on this loan?
2 million.
2 million?
Yeah.
With the 20%?
Yeah. So 2 million max loan amount. Yeah. Okay. Really good one. Really, really, really good one. We've gotten a lot of traction on this program recently. So Q&A. I know we've been doing Q&A as we've been going, but if now's the time to ask your questions, anything, and it doesn't have to be cash buyer program, just anything. FHA, this is your time. FHA, VA, conventional, units, FHA 3 to 4 units. I mean, there's a caveat there that I always like to talk about when a person buys a triplex or fourplex on FHA. I don't know if you know that caveat, where the property has to debt service itself, even though the borrower has enough money and the debt to income ratio looks good. If they're buying an FHA 3 to 4 unit property, the property itself has to pay for itself. And that's something a lot of realtors and even lenders don't know. They find out when they go into escrow. They go, oh, my borrower's income is great. He could be making $1 million a month. They don't care. The property has to debt service. And that applies only on FHA 3 to 4 units. Okay. Another program that's coming back to be aware of are renovation loans. Fannie Mae renovation loans. That's another good one. That's another really good one.
Is that like a 203K?
It's a 203K, but it's for conventional. Okay, so it doesn't have the FHA MIP. You're going to have PMI. Like literally, someone can do a renovation loan with 5% down. Okay, and what's cool about it is that with a Fannie Mae conventional renovation loan, a client can build an ADU. I know that's a hot topic. Yeah. So with a Fannie Mae renovation, only with a Fannie Mae renovation, they can build an ADU. That's huge. Now, we cannot use the rent from the ADU. I was reading your mind. We unfortunately can't use the rent, but I mean, there's good borrowers out there. So as long as it fits the profile, once we add the 100,000 to the top of the deal for the ADU, as long as the numbers pencil out, they're good. But we cannot use the future income of the ADU. Not yet. Not yet. We are petitioning. California is making a lot of noise. I don't know what you guys are doing from California Association of Realtors, but on our end, we're already in talks with Fannie Mae to push them to at least give us a pilot program, something, because of the lack of inventory, right? It only makes sense for them to allow us to use the future income of the ADUs. Freddie Mac last week, just FYI, just came out with something that they're going to allow us to use the income on existing ADUs, but they're only going to give us 30% of the market rent. But we'll take it. Okay, so if there's an existing ADU on a purchase or a refi, they'll let us use 30% of the income. That's brand spanking new. Yeah. There's our contact information. Yes.
I actually want to know what is the entitlement amount for VA loans?
The entitlement amount? Well, typically the entitlement amount is $36,000. Okay, but I know it varies from veteran to veteran. So really the entitlement, it comes from the veteran's certificate of eligibility. Okay, different veterans are going to have different entitlements. Any other questions from our viewers on Zoom?
I got a question.
Yes.
The 1.6 convenience fee they're using the VAT, can that be financed on top of the loan or?
It can. It can. As long as the only scenario where it wouldn't is, let's say you have a conventional buyer that's putting 3% down. So they're already tapped at 97%. So there's no room to stick it on top. Okay. But if it's more than 3% down, let's say they're doing 10% or 20% down, absolutely, it can be rolled in there. Okay. The only thing with that, and I'm going a little bit deeper on that, is at that point, then we need to make the executive decision, is it worth it? Because let's say they're doing 20% down and they tell me, okay, I want to put the 1.6 in the deal. Okay, the minute I add the 1.6, what happens? Now I got to charge them PMI. You see what I'm saying? So yes, it is doable, but financially it may not make sense. Okay, if they're doing 80% financing or more.
Because what that does is, instead of them giving 20%, now they're just giving 17.4%.
That is correct. That is correct. That is correct. And that's where I'll coach them. I'll coach them and say, you know what, in this case, I would rather see you pay it up front, because if you roll it into the loan, this is what's going to happen. Yeah. Yes, it's possible, but to me, I wouldn't recommend it. Yeah, that's a great question.
Can you finance 4-unit for VA loan?
Yes. Yes. 1 to 4. Yeah. No. Any other questions? You guys are masters of the cash buyer program now? It is pretty basic. It is. And again, once you guys start thinking about it, especially when it comes time to write the offer and getting out there, I think once you get on that webinar, it's going to clear all that up.
Is there a fee for the webinar?
For the what?
For the webinar?
No, free. Yeah. And again, Tiffany's going to send you the training calendar. There's plenty of training. She's going to send you a couple of different videos, collateral. If anybody wants to partner up with me on doing videos, I actually partnered up with a good friend of mine who's a veteran himself. He's a broker owner. I think Sophia might know him. And we're going to start doing a little series of little live Zoom calls. I mean, just to create awareness. He's on fire about it because he's a veteran. He's got 50 or 60 agents, and he's all about that. Okay, he's a veteran broker. And when I talked to him about this, he was like, let's freaking do this. Let's make some noise. So I cordially invite and extend the invitation to anybody here. If you guys want to partner up with me, I'm more than happy to jump on a webinar or a Zoom call with you. We've done, what did we do? Was it a live Facebook Live? Yeah.
It was YouTube, Facebook, and Spotify.
Yeah. Whatever you guys want to do, especially around the cash buyer program, I'm more than happy to partner up with you guys. We'll knock it out in 30 minutes. You guys can share it to your sphere of influence, to your clients. I'd be more than happy to do that with you guys. And it's easy. And I enjoy it, and I think it's effective. Every time I do a video on this program, I get at least 1 or 2 leads all the time.
Yeah, that's the thing that everybody just wants to see videos.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially educational. Y si alguien quiere hacerlos en español, con mucho gusto lo hacemos en español también. El que hicimos contigo fue en español, right? Yeah. In Spanish, whatever topic you guys want to choose. If you guys like the cash buyer, the VA, whatever you guys want to do, just let me know.
Can you share your videos?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I would rather do one with you, honestly. All you have to do is ask me the questions. I'll do all the talking. Right? Okay. All right, guys. Well, if there's no more questions, thank you so much for your time. I'll be sticking around here, and I think is it almost taco time, Tiffany? Almost? All right, cool. So we'll just hang out here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.